stop. Before you spray another chemical on your garden, watch this. What I'm about to show you is so powerful that industrial agriculture buried it for 70 years. A Korean natural farming technique that makes plants literally immune to disease, using nothing but wild fermentation, no chemicals, no expensive inputs. Just microbes doing what they've done for millions of years. And the best part? You already have everything you need in your backyard. Here's what nobody tells you about modern gardening. We've been sold a lie. The industry wants you to believe you need bottles, powders, and sprays to grow food. Fungicides for blight, pesticides for bugs, fertilizers for growth. But here's the thing. Every single one of those products kills the very thing that protects your plants. The soil microbiome. It's like taking antibiotics every day and wondering why you keep getting sick. Your garden isn't broken, the system is broken, and there's a reason why traditional farmers never needed any of this. Meet Indigenous Microorganisms, or IMO for short. This is the secret weapon Korean natural farming has used for centuries. Here's how it works. In every forest, every meadow, every wild space, there are millions of beneficial microbes that have evolved to protect plants. These aren't lab-created GMOs. These are wild, native, battle-tested microorganisms that have been winning the war against plant pathogens for millions of years. And you can capture them in 3 days using nothing but cooked rice. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to make this, how to collect these wild microbes, how to multiply them, and how to apply them to create soil so alive, so balanced, that disease simply can't take hold. I've used this on tomatoes that were supposed to die from blight. They thrived. On roses that got black spot every year, gone. On fruit trees that were stunted and sick, now producing like crazy. This isn't theory, this is a 5,000-year-old practice backed by modern science. And I'm going to prove it to you. But before we get to the how-to, you need to understand why this works on a level that chemicals never can. Because once you see what's actually happening in your soil, you'll never look at gardening the same way again. Your soil isn't dirt. It's a living ecosystem more complex than a rainforest. In just 1 tablespoon of healthy soil, there are more microorganisms than there are people on Earth. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, all working together in a network so sophisticated that scientists are just beginning to understand it. These microbes do 3 critical things. They convert nutrients into forms plants can actually use. They form protective barriers around roots that pathogens can't penetrate. And they communicate with plants through chemical signals, warning them of threats before they arrive. This is the immune system of your garden, and chemicals destroy it completely. So, what makes indigenous microorganisms different from the bacteria in a bottle you buy at the garden center? 3 things. First, they're native. They've evolved in your local environment, so they're already adapted to your climate, your soil type, your challenges. Second, they're diverse. While commercial products might have 3 to 5 species, IMO contains hundreds, even thousands. And third, they're alive and active. Unlike dormant spores, these are ready to colonize immediately. It's the difference between hiring a local specialist who knows your neighborhood versus bringing in a consultant from another country who's never seen your challenges. Now here's where it gets fascinating. The fermentation process isn't just storing these microbes, it's activating them. When you collect IMO on rice and then ferment it, you're creating an environment where beneficial bacteria explode. The lactic acid bacteria drop the pH, creating conditions that beneficial fungi love, but disease-causing organisms hate. You're essentially brewing a probiotic for your soil. And just like fermented foods heal your gut microbiome, IMO heals your soil microbiome. The parallel is exact. So, how does this actually prevent disease? 4 mechanisms. 1. Competitive exclusion. Beneficial microbes colonize the space so completely that pathogens literally can't find a place to attach. 2. Antibiotic production. Many beneficial bacteria and fungi produce natural antibiotics that kill specific pathogens. 3. Nutrient competition. Good microbes are so efficient at grabbing nutrients that pathogens starve. And 4. Induced systemic resistance. Plants growing in IMO-rich soil activate their own immune systems, producing defensive compounds before disease even arrives. It's not just protection, it's teaching plants to protect themselves. This is why Korean natural farmers call it soil that heals itself. Once you establish this ecosystem, it maintains itself. Now let's make it happen. All right, let's get practical. First, you need to find where the best microbes live. Look for the most undisturbed, thriving wild spaces you can find. Old growth forests, meadows that have never been plowed, the base of healthy ancient trees, bamboo groves, leaf litter in mature woods. These are microbial gold mines. What you're avoiding: anywhere that's been chemically treated, near roads with pollution, or areas with sick plants. You want the winners, not the losers. I'm heading to this oak forest behind my property. See how thick this leaf litter is? See how dark and rich this humus layer is? This is exactly what we're looking for. Background nature sounds. Here's what you need. Cooked white rice, just plain white rice, no salt, no oil. A wooden box or bamboo steamer basket. Breathable cotton cloth. That's it. Cook your rice until it's just done, maybe slightly undercooked. Let it cool to room temperature. Put it in your wooden box about 1 inch deep. Cover it with breathable cloth or paper. You want airflow but protection from debris. Now here's the critical part. Place this in your chosen location at ground level, right on top of that leaf litter. Tuck it under some leaves for protection, but make sure air can still circulate. You're creating an irresistible invitation for microbes. The carbohydrates in rice are like a neon sign saying free buffet here. Now you wait. In warm weather, 3 to 4 days. In cooler weather, up to 7 days. What you're looking for: white, fluffy mold starting to grow on the rice. This is the good stuff, beneficial fungi. You might also see some yellow or light purple patches. That's fine. What you don't want: black mold, green mold, or anything that smells rotten. Good IMO smells sweet, almost fruity, like sake or sweet bread. If it smells bad, compost it and try again. When I check this box on day 4, look at this. Perfect white colonization. This is millions of beneficial microbes ready to go to work. Satisfying ASMR sounds. Harvesting is simple but important. Gently remove the rice from the box. You want to keep that white mold intact. Mix it immediately with an equal weight of brown sugar or molasses. If you collected 500 grams of rice, add 500 grams of sugar. Mix it thoroughly but gently. The sugar does 2 things. It preserves the microbes and it feeds them. Store this in a breathable container, a cloth bag or a jar with the lid loose. Keep it in a cool, dark place. This is your IMO 1. It's stable like this for months. But we're not done. This is just the seed culture. Next, we multiply it. This is where things get powerful. We're going to multiply those microbes by a factor of thousands. Take your IMO 1 and mix it with an equal amount of cooked rice or wheat bran. Add a little water until it feels like a wrung-out sponge, moist but not soggy. Spread this mixture in a shallow layer, about 2 inches deep, in a wooden box or on a tarp. Cover with breathable cloth. Over the next 5 to 7 days, the entire mass will heat up. That's the microbes multiplying exponentially. Then white mycelium will spread throughout. This is IMO 2, and it's thousands of times more concentrated than what you started with. You can go even further. For IMO 3, take your IMO 2 and mix it with local soil at a 1.1 ratio. This adapts the microbes specifically to your soil type. For IMO 4, you add rice bran and a bit of moisture, creating an even more concentrated amendment. But here's the truth. For most home gardeners, IMO 2 is plenty. I use IMO 2 for everything, and the results are phenomenal. The key is application. You can apply this directly to soil, or, and this is my favorite method, you can make it into a liquid extract. Take a handful of your IMO 2, about 100 grams. Add it to 5 gallons of non-chlorinated water. Add 2 tablespoons of molasses to feed the microbes. Bubble this with an aquarium pump for 24 to 48 hours. The oxygen keeps beneficial aerobic bacteria thriving while preventing pathogens. What you get is a living tea packed with billions of beneficial microbes. You can spray this on leaves to prevent fungal diseases. Drench it into soil to build the microbiome. Water seedlings with it to give them an instant immune boost. I spray my tomatoes weekly with this. I haven't seen blight in 3 years. Timing matters. For established gardens, apply IMO liquid every 2 to 4 weeks. For new beds, weekly applications for the first month, then switch to maintenance. Early morning or evening application is best. UV light kills microbes, so avoid midday sun. For soil application, you can apply IMO2 directly at transplanting. I put a handful in each planting hole. For foliar spray, dilute your liquid extract 1:10 with water and spray until leaves are wet but not dripping. The goal is to inoculate them. Once your soil microbiome is established, usually after 2 to 3 months, you'll notice the magic. Diseases just don't show up. Pests are less interested. Plants are more vigorous. The soil starts healing itself. This is the power of Korean natural farming. Let's see the results in action. Let me show you what this actually looks like in practice. This is my tomato bed, year 1 versus year 3 with IMO. Year 1, I fought late blight, early blight, septoria leaf spot, you name it. I was spraying copper fungicide weekly and still losing plants. Year 3, same varieties, same location, 0 fungicides, not one diseased leaf. Here's my rose garden. Black spot used to defoliate these every summer. I've applied IMO liquid bi-weekly for 2 seasons. This is August. Look at this foliage. Perfect. This apple tree was stunted, covered in fire blight. I drenched the root zone with IMO and sprayed the branches monthly. 2 years later, it's doubled in size and producing fruit. The science backs this up, but seeing it is believing it. This isn't just anecdotal. Research from Seoul National University found that indigenous microorganisms reduce plant disease by an average of 73% compared to untreated controls. A study in the Journal of Agricultural Science showed IMO soil had 400% more beneficial bacteria and 600% more beneficial fungi than conventional soil. The mechanism is proven. Competitive exclusion, antibiotic production, induced systemic resistance. The Korean Rural Development Administration has documented this across thousands of farms for decades. But here's what really matters. You don't need to take my word for it. You can test this yourself. This works because it's working with nature, not against it. Quick answers to the questions I get most. Can I mess this up? Yes, but it's hard. If it smells bad or looks black, just compost it and try again. How long does it last? IMO 1 with sugar lasts months. Liquid extract should be used within 48 hours of brewing. Is this safe for vegetables? Absolutely. You're not adding anything that isn't already in nature. Will this work in my climate? Yes, microbes are everywhere. You're just concentrating what's already there. How much does this cost? The rice and sugar for a year's supply costs about $10. Compare that to a season of fungicides. Does it work on all plants? I've used it on everything from vegetables to lawns. The microbiome principle works universally. What if I don't have a forest nearby? Parks, meadows, even healthy undisturbed areas in your yard work. Just avoid chemically treated areas. Silence background music pulse. Here's why this matters beyond your garden. Industrial agriculture has destroyed soil microbiomes globally. But every garden that rebuilds its microbiome is an act of restoration. You're sequestering carbon. You're creating habitat for beneficial insects. You're producing nutrient-dense food. And you're proving that there's a better way. Korean natural farming shows us that the most sophisticated technology isn't in a lab. It's under our feet. And it's free. Imagine if every backyard made this shift. We'd transform global agriculture, 1 jar of fermented rice at a time. So here's your challenge. Make your first batch of IMO this weekend. Find your wild space. Set your rice. Wait 4 days. Mix with sugar. You now have the most powerful disease prevention tool available. If this works for you, and it will, share it. Drop a comment when you try this. Subscribe for more. Your garden doesn't need to be saved. It needs to be set free. The microbes already know what to do. Now go make some IMO.